Hey everybody, it's Zach from Myshire Farm, and thank you for watching. We are here to help you on your journey with Coturnix quail and becoming more self-sufficient. In this video, we're actually going to talk about why your quail might have stopped laying or haven't started laying yet. It is a very common question, and there's a couple different reasons why, so we need to diagnose those. So we're actually going to do this video a little bit differently. I'm going to give you the top 5 most common reasons, and then we're going to go back through and explain a little bit better on why that is or what to do about it. And then we're also going to, at the end, give you some uncommon reasons. So if the 5, you go, nope, that's good, that's good, that's good, well, then we can dive into some uncommon issues. So the top 5 is going to be always feed and water. Number 2 is going to be light. They need supplemental light. Number 3 is spacing. So we recommend 3 quail per square foot. Number 4 is make sure your male to female ratio is correct. We recommend 5 hens to every 1 male. Number 5 is it could be molting, which is a normal thing. And there's some things that you can help get them through that period. But that will happen a few times throughout their life. Now, we are going to go back. We're going to dive into why those are the answers to help you on your journey so that you can better understand things when things arise later on. I do want to preface by saying that on average, now there's always exceptions to the rule, right? But on average, you want your quail to start laying between 6 and 8 weeks old. And then they will lay for about 2 years with the right conditions, which is what we're going to get into in just a minute. But that's kind of the rule of thumb that you're looking for. So if they are 8, 9, 10, 11 weeks old and they haven't started laying eggs, or if they're 6 months old and they just plain stopped, this video is to help you understand the process and fix the issues. So here we go. If you're going to find this helpful, or if you already have, make sure you support the channel by just hitting the like button. I would greatly appreciate it, and it helps the channel grow. But let's talk about number 1, always food and water. Always, always, always. They always need to make sure that they have plenty of both because they get very hangry very quickly. So if they run out of food, typically that stresses them out. And the theme behind all of these answers is stress. When they're stressed, they're not productive. Or the males get overly stressed and then they stress out the hens even more, and then no one's productive. So make sure that there's always food and water. We are going to dive into feed in a separate video. I'm going to do a separate video with feed made simple about raising Coturnix quail. And hopefully you'll like that. So if that sounds interesting to you, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon for notifications so you don't miss that. But that's coming up shortly. Number 2 is light. They do need supplemental light, and here's the thing, it doesn't really matter what kind. It could be Christmas lights, it could be LED lights, it could be day lights, it could be, cool lights, it could be whatever. It doesn't really matter, they don't really care that much. It needs to be clear or white, no, Christmas lights that blink or anything like that. That's strobe lights for them, and they don't like that. So just regular lights of any sort will do the trick. What's recommended is between 16 and 18 hours of light a day. Now, if you go below that 16, they won't be as productive, or more importantly, they won't be as consistent in laying eggs. Now, if you go above the 18, they'll still be productive for you, but you're shortening their lifespan. Not by a ton, but you are shortening their lifespan. So the production standpoint, as far as giving them 24 hours of light a day, is not a big deal. But you're going to be getting a lot less eggs in the long run because they're not going to live and produce as long. So giving them that break each day really helps their body reset. So 16 to 18 hours of light a day. A lot of my customers will contact me and say, I've been doing great, and then they just stop laying, and it's usually when we're going from summer to fall or fall to winter, and the daylight is getting shorter and shorter, and so they're not supplementing the light. So that's usually a big issue there. Number 3 is spacing. Now, we recommend 3 quail per square foot. And we do that very specifically for a good reason, and I'm going to explain that to you right now. So when we started our business, so we've been raising quail for a while. When we started the business, we decided to do a lot of our own research. So we had multiple cages together, and we went from anywhere from 1 quail per square foot in a cage to 10 quail per square foot in a cage. And then we eliminated as quickly as possible when we saw any issues. Now, obviously, 7, 8, 9, 10 quail per square foot, they were way too cramped. It looked bad. It felt bad. So we got rid of those very quickly, but we had to do the research on it. So we got rid of those and put them right. So we eliminated those. We started incubating and tracking the fertilization, and we realized that 1 and 2 quail per square foot just wasn't a lot. There was a lot of territorial issues and things like that. So we got rid of those. So 3, 4, 5 was typically where we were sitting at. But we did notice that 3 quail per square foot was the best results and the best production and made the quail look the nicest. So when you got to that 5 quail per square foot, they started getting real raggedy very, very quickly, even with the 4. But the 3 quail per square foot, they still looked nice after a while. Their fertility was still very high. Everybody was happy and producing, and so that's why we recommend 3 quail per square foot. Now, we did the same thing with the next common answer, and that is the male to female ratio. We did the same thing. We did 1 to 1 male to 1 female, and we did 10 females to 1 male, and everything in between. Now, we recommend 5 hens to every 1 male. And the reason we did that is process of elimination. The 1 to 1 was just not enough. The male was overly breeding quite a bit, and then he was fighting with other males in that cage to fight for the females, because 1 female was just not enough for the male. Whereas the 10 hens to the 1 male was very, very low fertility. So we just kept eliminating until we got to 5 quail per square foot. Typically, the hens still look good. They're not overly stressed. They're not overly bred, so they're keeping all of their feathers. The male is doing his thing and producing, but not getting overly aggressive. So that's why we recommend 5 hens to every 1 male. Now, you might say, what does this have to do with production, or why my quail might stop laying? Well, the answer is anytime they get stressed out, they will stop laying. They need to be a stress-free life, right? So when they run out of feed and water, they think they're never going to get it again. They start fighting each other, start, creating territories for each other, and say, whatever feed is left, this is mine. So that would be that. The light, obviously, it's just like all poultry. They need the light to lay. The spacing is very important because, again, it can either overstress them or, again, cause territorial or aggression issues if it's too high or too low. And then that issue will also cause stress because everybody's being mean to each other. And then, again, the 5 hens to 1 male. If the male's overbreeding, the hens are not going to produce. If he's underbreeding, they might produce, but you're not going to get the production out of it that is, fertilized. And then number 5 is molting. Now, they'll molt throughout the year, typically about 2 times a year, so 4 total in their lifespan. That is completely normal. There's nothing to worry about. It usually takes them about 2 weeks. And you can help the process, you can move the process along, you can almost eliminate the entire molting process if you wanted to, and we're going to get into that in just a second because the answer is the same to almost all of them as far as how to correct the issue. But honestly, the best thing to do with molting is just let them do their thing. It's a natural thing, so it usually takes 2 weeks. If it's taking longer than 2 weeks, then you step in. But allowing them to do their natural process is the best practice there. Now, there's a few uncommon things that we haven't really talked about, which is predator attacks. If that happens, again, they get stressed out, they'll stop laying. Or if there was even a hint to a predator attack, or an attempt and they didn't get any, but they got spooked. Or even if it wasn't, if it was a dog walking by or a cat walking by or whatever the case may be, even if you walked up to the cage and startled them, they can get very, very territorial, very, very scared, and completely shut down the production process. So make sure that they're very calm, very safe, make sure it's predator proof, and all of this stuff can be resolved, all of this stuff can be fixed, but these are issues that you're gonna have raising Coturnix quail. Another very big one that's not talked about a lot, it's asked quite a bit though, is what about the temp? So when it gets really cold in the winter or really hot in the summer, the temperature doesn't really affect production with Coturnix quail, nor does it really affect fertility with Coturnix quail. Now, what does affect them a lot is the elements: rain, snow, wind, whatever the case may be, right? So you need to make sure that they can get out of those elements at any point in time that they feel like they need to, which also helps with predators. So if there's, an assumptive predator around, they can go into that little area and feel safe as well. So that it's kind of a multi-purpose thing. So they don't like rain, they don't like being wet, they don't like heavy rain or heavy wind, they don't like snow, they like it cool and breezy and sunny is really what they like. But they'll get along in all the elements as long as they can get out of the harsh elements, right? So make sure that that's taken care of as well. And make sure, again, it's predator proof. Now, if they do stop laying, again, it usually takes about 2 weeks for them to reset, right? And they don't all do it at one time. Usually you'll see 1 or 2 eggs, and then a couple days later, they'll all start laying again. And then it will usually take an extra week for them to get in a routine again. So you might go 2 weeks without any eggs, and then the next few days you might get 1 or 2 a day. But by the end of that 3rd week, they should all be right back on track. Now, a couple of things that you can do to either speed up the process or fix the issue is electrolytes in the water. You can do Save a Chick, which is on Amazon, or you can buy that at Tractor Supply. Murray McMurray Hatchery, they have a website. If you go there, they actually make their own electrolyte powder that you can add to the water. So you can get that. I mean, there's different options. We've used Save a Chick for quite some time. It's pretty inexpensive on Amazon, and we just get it monthly, and you can get it on a routine. So we just do that. Typically, you want to give it to them for 2 times a week during this issue. And you don't want to overdo it. You can actually overdo it. So giving it to them every day is not a good practice at all. Doing it on like Tuesday, Friday or something like that is a good example. But make sure that that's placed in moderation. Now, there are some tips to do after that. So again, the 2-week rule is okay. Don't stress out until after that. Once the 2 weeks are up and you're still not getting any eggs, there are some measures that you can take to get them jump started again. And that is, you can disorient them. So you would take them all out of the cage, put them in a dark box with no light, leave them in there for about 35-40 minutes, put them all back in the cage. They'll kind of reset within the next few days. That usually works very well. Another option is to change the lighting system. So for 2 or 3 days straight, either leave the lights on 24 hours a day or leave them off 24 hours a day, and then get them back in the routine. And then when you start that 16 to 18 hour cycle again, then they go, oh, okay, yep, I'm supposed to be laying. So you're kind of helping them reset because they haven't done it in that time. Now, I don't recommend taking those extreme measures until you wait the 2-week time period. But that's just, again, the most common reasons and some uncommon reasons why quail would stop laying, what to look for, how to fix the issue. And the biggest thing is they love their routine, they love to feel safe. And so if they stop laying for 2 or 3 days and you start doing all of that stuff, you're just going to take even longer for them to start the process again. So sometimes patience is key, so keep that in mind. I hope that this helped. If it did, again, support the channel by just hitting that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. And remember, every Sunday and every Tuesday, I go live right here on our YouTube channel, Myshire Farm, for a live Q&A. So you ask the questions that you've got going on with your Coturnix quail, and I am there to help you along with the journey by answering it and helping you out. So I hope you can make it. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, until next time, everybody, stay safe.